Hello everyone and welcome to Lagoon Customs and another episode of Start Working on Your Motorcycle. My name's Drew and today it's all about that spark. Tried to start my motorcycle this morning but nothing would happen. I first thought maybe there's an issue with the starter motor, but from the sounds of it, it started turning. So my next best guess is that it might be something to do with the spark plugs. So today we are going to have a look at the spark plugs, see whether they still function, whether the color is right, and try to get my bike running again. And for today's work, we will need some spark plug tools, something like this. Depending on what kind of spark plug you have, you'll use these to screw them out, a new spark plug, and of course you want to make sure you have a fully charged battery. Before we remove the spark plug, we got to make sure that we clean the area, remove any oil, because the last thing you want to do is remove the spark plug and get any of that dirt or unwanted particles into the combustion chamber. So that looks fairly clean. Then remove the cap. Oops. Get the spark plug tool and start removing the spark plug. And you just need that in the beginning. Afterwards, you should be able to move the spark plug out by hand. To test whether your spark plug is functioning and to see the spark, all you need to do is plug it back in, like so, and then hold it to the mast, so to the metal, and make sure that if you don't have a plastic cover, make sure you don't touch this if it's out of metal. In that case, hold the cable like this and you'll be able to see the spark as well. So hold it on to the mast, like so, and then press the start button. Let's try again. To be honest, I didn't see that much of a spark. Therefore, I will put on a new spark plug and see whether I can see a difference. So let's put on the new spark plug and give it another try and see whether that works. I didn't see that much of a difference, therefore I will keep the old one. I'll just clean it up a little bit and keep the new one for another time. To clean the spark plug, I'll use a metal brush. And in the meanwhile, I've already checked the other spark plugs. They all work. And all I have to do now is put the spark plug back in. So when you screw the spark plug back in, always remember your engine is made out of aluminium, which is a very soft metal, and your spark plug has steel or definitely a harder metal around it. So make sure it really fits, and if you feel any resistance, stop, go back and try it again. So now what I'm going to do is screw the spark plug back in with my hand all the way in until I reach rock bottom, and once I can't move it any further by hand, I will take the spark plug tool and give it another half a turn maximum. That's it. There we go. That's it. I'm gonna do that for the remaining 4 spark plugs, and you should be good to go. Did you hear that sound before? This morning when I tried to start the engine, the only thing I could hear is the spinning of the starter engine. But right before, when I tested the spark plug, the engine started. So I tested all 4 spark plugs, they all had a spark, put them back in and started the engine, and it started running, but as soon as I pull the throttle, the engine just dies. So not sure what the problem might be, but this spark plug video seems to be turning into finding the issue for why the motorcycle is not running. So I know it's not the starter because I could hear it already in the morning. I know it's not the battery, it's fully charged. I know it's not the spark plugs. I've tested all 4 of them. I even exchanged all 4 of them, and it seems to get the engine started, but as I said, as soon as I turn the throttle, it just dies on me. So the next thing I'm going to check are the ignition coils and the spark caps. There's a resistance in each spark cap, which I'm going to test, and there's a certain amount of resistance that I should be able to measure in the ignition coil. So let's see whether the resistance numbers are correct and whether I need to exchange the ignition coil or not. Alright, so got the tank up, and as you can see, this is one of the ignition coils, and right behind it over there is the second one. So what I do need to remember is that the spark plugs right here, they're connected to the ignition coils. So on the first coil you got spark plug 2 and spark plug 4, and then this one, number 1. No, hold on. Okay, so the first ignition coil is connected to the one on the far left is connected to spark plug 4, and the one sitting on the right side is connected to spark plug number 1. They are numbered. Don't know whether you can see it, but yeah, there is a number on there. So I'll just have to remember that and take it off and test it. So took out the ignition coil, and according to the shop manual, there's a primary coil check and a secondary coil check that you can do. For the primary coil check, I've set the multimeter to the ohm scale, and what I need to do now is connect one probe lead to each one of those 2 thin tension wires. Doesn't matter which lead you put on which one. It should read about 2.5 ohms plus minus 10% at 20 degrees Celsius room temperature. Not sure about the room temperature since it's pretty cold, but let's see what we get here. Yeah, that's about 2.5 as you can see. Once more. So that first check is good. Then for the secondary coil check, we use the high tension leads, and this time we set the meter on the kilo ohm scale. So that would be here. Okay, and that should give us a resistance of 11 kilo ohms plus minus 20%, also at 20 degrees room temperature. Now keep in mind that you do, in the spark plug itself, in these here, you each have a resistance added to them, and that will add up for, I'd say, around 8 to 9 kilo ohm. So let's see what we get. Again, doesn't matter where you put in the lead. Yeah, flaky, but I can see around 19.9. Goes up to 19.9, and if we add the resistance within the spark plug to it, if we deduct it, then we're at around 10. So plus minus 20%, we should be good. So this coil should be okay. So let's test the second coil. So here I have the second ignition coil. Same primary coil check that we did before, and it should be 2.5. Right. There you go, 2.6, which is all right. Over to the secondary coil check, which I find a little bit harder with these ones. Spark plug caps are look a little bit different. I did test it before and it worked. Oh. Set the multimeter right. Nothing. Nope. If you ask me, I took those off before and I checked directly right into these 2 cables, and I did get a value which seemed to be correct. So I don't know, man, whether it's these spark plug caps. I think I'm going to exchange them and give it another try. So got those two spark plug caps from NGK. Let's give it another try. Yeah, I have the feeling that before I didn't get any numbers on the multimeter, and now it's way easier to get those. I hope that solves the problem, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll need to try it out. So let's go. So as I said, I exchanged the spark plug caps, and initially I took it for a ride, and initially it looked like it was running. I was able to drive, and 5 minutes later the engine died and I couldn't start it up again. So I had to push my motorcycle all the way back to the garage, and once I got back to the garage I noticed that there is an oil leakage around the engine. So I'm not sure what the problem is, but we'll have to figure out in another episode. But for now, well, at least we were able to check the spark plugs, check the ignition coils, and that on its own was fun. I've learned something new, although I haven't solved the problem yet, but that's something for another day. So I hope you have fun and you learned something, and at least you know now how to check the spark plugs and the ignition coil. Always use the shop manual. Leave some comments. Let me know if you have any ideas, what else I could check, and stay tuned. All right. Peace.
Yeah, hello. How are you guys? All good? Hey, message to Drew from Mr. Tonner. Don't you worry. Be happy. Now you can look for another mistake, oder? And then you will find out and you will learn something new, oder? But yeah, maybe the oil is not such a good sign, but we will see, huh? In the next episode, Drew will tell you more about what happened, huh? Okay? And now go home and smoke a doobie. Okay, bye-bye.